back after a year, has it been? Yes. I'm productive. Hello. Okay, I'm just gonna jump right in because I don't know how to do any sort of intro. I'm good at preamble, very good at preamble. I can talk for days about nothing. I know so many people love the spoon theory, and I'm not saying I hate it. I'm gonna say this now: if it helps you, use it, go for it. If it helps you, if it makes you feel good, if it makes you more able to understand your energy, brilliant, 100%, love that for you. But I haven't found anyone talking about not liking the spoon theory, which I found very interesting because personally I find that, for me personally at least, I'm not a big fan for a couple of reasons that I'll get into. But first off, I'll explain the spoon theory because if you're here and you don't know what the spoon theory is, probably gonna get pretty lost. So the spoon theory was first coined by Christine. I've tried to memorize this name so many times, I'm just going to read it straight off my book because I cannot remember how to pronounce it. The spoon theory was first coined by Christine Miserandino in 2003 in an essay. Christine Miserandino, she has, I believe, lupus, which is another energy limiting chronic illness. No hate to Christine, 100% love the impact that it has had on the chronic illness community and how it has brought together so many people. Often you'll hear people who use the spoon theory refer to themselves as spoonies, and even though I don't like the spoon theory and don't tend to use it, I'm still very happy to call myself a spoonie. I love the community that's around it and the understanding. So the way the spoon theory works is a spoon represents a unit of energy. For example, I will actually use the example straight off the ME-Pedia website because I find one of the reasons I don't like using it is I don't find it very straightforward. So let me get that up. Spoon theory is used mainly by people who are chronically ill or have some sort of condition that limits how much energy they have daily to achieve tasks of general daily living. Every person starts the day with a number of spoons. Generally, according to the spoon theory, it is about the same number of spoons every day, but this can be impacted by what you did yesterday, what you're going to do tomorrow, how your illness progresses, what part of your cycle you're in. All that can impact how many spoons you have for the day to complete all your activities. But someone with a chronic illness or a disability that impacts their energy starts the day with less spoons than a healthy, able-bodied person. For example, a healthy person might have relatively unlimited spoons, and they will only notice their spoons or their energy getting low if they do something outside the ordinary, if they do something very exerting and fatiguing for the day or possibly for several days in a row. This example of a day with a number of spoons is straight off ME-Pedia. I will link to that down in the description. For an example, someone has 12 spoons a day. They wake up, they have 12 spoons lying in front of them. Get up, that costs 1 spoon. Get dressed, that costs 1 spoon. Taking medication, that's another spoon. Driving to work, 3 spoons, and working, 4 spoons. There we go, that's 10 spoons. They have 2 spoons left for whatever they may choose to do in the evening. Or someone may only have 4 spoons for a day, which means they can get up and they can get dressed and they only have 2 spoons left, so they might watch TV, and that's another spoon. Each activity that someone does requires a different number of spoons. For example, getting out of bed is 1 spoon, getting dressed could be 2 spoons, making a meal could be 3 spoons, etc, etc. It's used quite often in myalgic encephalomyelitis or chronic fatigue syndrome because pacing is the primary treatment option. For some people, spoons help them visualize how much energy they have, and that far more enables them to be able to accurately manage their energy throughout the day to not exacerbate their symptoms or to make sure they have enough spoons for what they need or for what they want to do. So I'm going to get into why I don't like it. Why don't I like the spoon theory? It seems great, it has a community behind it, wonderful things. Well, I don't like it for quite a few reasons. First off, it takes a lot of spoons to explain the spoon theory. The majority of the time, if I mention the spoon theory to people who aren't chronically ill, or even sometimes people who are chronically ill, they don't know what it is. And so for me to be able to use the spoon theory, which is a form of communication, a metaphor to be able to quickly and easily describe my energy limitations, it ironically takes a lot of my energy to be able to explain what the spoon theory is. So the nature of the spoon theory being not a complex metaphor, but one that for some reason doesn't seem intuitive to a lot of people, kind of inhibits its use, because to be able to use it, I need to then explain it to a whole bunch of people. My biggest pet peeve with it is, how much is a spoon? I don't know how much a spoon is. How many spoons do certain activities take, and how many spoons do I wake up with? There's no guide for what unit of energy a spoon encapsulates. Often there will be tables of different activities saying, oh, this activity costs 1 spoon, this activity costs 3 spoons. But for every different person, every single activity costs a different amount of energy. For example, for me, taking a shower is very fatiguing, very exhausting. It takes spoons for me. However, for some people, it gives them spoons. It energizes them, it wakes them up, it makes them more able to use their energy. So having that extreme difference between person to person of how their spoons are actually used, how their energy is affected by different activities, is quite frustrating, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. I also find that different activities on different days cost different amounts of energy. For example, on a day where I'm up and about and pretty healthy, like today, taking a shower may only cost me 2 spoons. But on a day where I am exhausted, my muscles are fatigued, it's a very high pain day, it may cost me 5, 6, 7 spoons and make me unable to do the rest of the day. I think one of the reasons I find the spoon theory doesn't work for me is because my illness fluctuates quite a lot. Chronic fatigue syndrome, depending on what I've done the day before, on how well my sleep was, what time I had to get up, my energy levels day to day vary greatly. On a good day like this, I might have 12 spoons today. Great. But tomorrow, because I have spent these 12 spoons, I may only have 5 spoons tomorrow. And often I am unaware of how much energy I'm going to have throughout the day when I first wake up in the morning. So for me, planning out my day is very hard, because, well, if I don't know the number here, how do I know what I can take away from it? There seem to be 2 lines of thinking from people who use the spoon theory. One of which is healthy people start the day with a lot of spoons, which makes most sense for me. But some people use the spoon theory with the belief that healthy people, able-bodied people, don't have spoons, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense. My cat's making noises. I don't know if you can hear that. Pigeon, do you want to say hello? Yeah? No? I personally have had other metaphors explained to me that I find work better. For example, I once had a physiotherapist explain my energy to me like a bucket. Everyone has a bucket of energy, but because I'm chronically ill, I have an extra hole in this bucket. So for every activity, you pour out a bit of water, that's fine. I just also have a constant leak in the bucket. That's one that I find, in my mind, works better. I think what makes me most uncomfortable around the spoon theory is that it is a quantifiable scale. There are a lot of areas within medicine and within being chronically ill where people will provide you with a scale of set numbers that you have to place yourself on so they can determine how functioning you are, how bad your pain is, how eligible you are for care. And as someone who has been ill for a long time, and I've spoken to other people who have this very same problem, I don't know how to quantify my symptoms into a set scale to be able to explain them to other people. For example, the 1 to 10 scale for pain. For people who don't have chronic pain, this can be quite easy to use, but I have had chronic pain since I was at least 7 years old. So it's very hard for me to understand what 0 is, because I do not have a memory of what 0 pain feels like. So when someone provides me with a scale of 0 to 10, this is as much as you can handle, this is nothing, I don't know how to put my pain onto that, because I don't remember what 0 feels like, and I'm not sure I've ever experienced the most pain that my body is physically able to experience. For me, pain also is very different. My shooting pain in my leg is going to be on a different scale to the aching pain in my joints. And oftentimes, because the pain is there so often, it is hard to differentiate the two and come up with an overall number for how much the pain hurts. People's pain scales are also influenced by the pain they have already experienced in life. For example, my partner, he had an accident where he shattered his knee. For him, that is the most pain he's ever been in. That is was excruciating pain for him, and that is what he bases his 1 to 10 scale off of. Whereas I have never had an experience where I've broken a bone, I have never had an experience where I was in severe acute pain. Therefore, I don't know what 10 is on my scale. I have never experienced acute pain to the point where I thought, yep, this is a 10. This is a 10. I find the spoon theory very similar to the 1 to 10 pain scale. I struggle to understand how many spoons things take, how many spoons I have, because I don't remember what it is like to have a normal amount of energy. I don't remember what it is like to have the energy of an able-bodied person. And I don't remember how much energy activities took when I was able-bodied. And even when I was able-bodied, I still had chronic pain. I had joint instability, meaning that my entire life, all of these activities have cost a different amount of spoons or a different amount of energy than other people around me. So I find it very hard to put my energy, which I find a very abstract concept, into a concrete, quantifiable scale, becomes very difficult for me. And I think that is my biggest problem with the spoon theory. It feels like another box that I need to put my energy into to make it real or valid to other people. And this might just be me overreacting and me reading into it and me having a whole I'm not ill enough crisis, because, well, that's another thing. I find the spoon theory is a quantifiable scale, and that doesn't work super well for me in my understanding of my illnesses. My experiences are very qualitative. That might sound strange, but for example, I could have a shower and may only cost me 2 spoons because all I did was stand in it and get wet. But then I could have a shower that cost me 7 spoons because I washed my hair, I scrubbed my body, I showered. Like proper showers. I would be interested to know if anyone else has a similar interpretation of the spoon theory to me, because I haven't heard many places people explaining that they don't like the spoon theory. I feel like because we have so many, but at the same time so few things that unite us as a community, stating that I don't like one of the key things the majority of the chronic illness community agrees upon is kind of a no-no. It's taking something that the majority of people like and going, not a fan. I'll be very interested to know if anyone dislikes the spoon theory like I do, or maybe I've misunderstood it. Maybe you have a completely different interpretation of the spoon theory that would work better for me. Maybe I've misunderstood the way that I've read it. Maybe you find the spoon theory, as I've explained it, very, very helpful for you, in which case, go you, that's wonderful. I'm very happy for you. But yes, I would love to know your opinions and what you thought of my explanation of why I didn't like it. I feel like I've been pretty vague in sections here. I'm very out of practice talking to a camera. So if you have any comments or thoughts on the spoon theory yourself, put them in the comments. I will reply. I love to talk about this stuff. I find it very fascinating. Thank you for watching.